Hi Arun, hi Diya, hi Tanuja, and hi Aniruddha. Yeah.
Hi. Hello.
Hi Nagesh, hi
Hi,
everyone.
Nagesh.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi.
Very
Hi.
good afternoon. It's wonderful to be on the panel to a subject which is so close to my heart. And I know each one of you. I have had chance to discuss what I do and what we do with each one of you. And I had two thoughts to work on this discussion over the next 45 minutes. One was to keep looking at what people have done. And I think that's what our brief was. But as in retail, you don't know what the customer wants and when he wants. I thought I'll change the whole brief. Okay, so instead of discussing that, I thought let's discuss what could be the future of retail HR, especially if you look at it from a well-being point of view. Yeah, because I think that's important. So maybe we'll find some solutions over the next 35, 40 minutes, rather than getting medals for what we have done over the last so many years. Yeah. So first, I want us, all four of us, and especially the four of you, to define how would you define organization as a family? Yeah, which I think is the most important thing. Okay, Arun, you want to start off? You have seen multiple organizations, you have coached to so many leaders, and you must have seen the head of the family role that the leaders play. So tell us, how should you define family for an organization?
Okay, thank you, Nagesh. Wonderful. I think I can talk about the inside-out approach in the sense that I've worked in retail, worked in hospitality, and of course, I now coach senior leaders. I'm actually looking at how, as an outsider, how do we look at retail as an industry? In this case, Nagesh, as a family, right? How do you look at retail as a family? I'll probably quote a small an anecdote and how when I was working with Raymond, right? We had a store in Barasat, which is West Bengal, and we actually had the franchisee who was there, who was to kind of so look at these things. Even a small franchisee can do this. What he used to do is once a year, right? He used to take the entire team from the store to a 5-star hotel and show them around to say that, okay, let's have a meal together, right? And let's see as to what are the service being provided in this hotel and what is it that we can pick up from here and apply in our own store. Yeah. And also once a year during Diwali time, the entire family of this franchisee would actually serve food. So they would invite the entire family of these associates and their families together and serve them meal. So they would actually stand behind the counter and serve them meal. Right. So this is how, and of course, this is about 10, 12 years ago, where he also was offering insurance for the team, medical insurance and stuff. So these are things which I really see as to how we can actually evolve.
So Arun, you are saying that if some of the welfare part of the people and if the pride and respect of togetherness, they say when you eat together, you're a family together, is part of the well-being. Diya, would you agree to what Arun said and would you like to add on? By the end of this session, I think we'll have a very nice definition of family as an organization.
Yeah, so I think, yes, I would be happy to add on over there. But yeah, I think a family and organization aren't very different. It's basically a close knit of people with, a common purpose. And they are structured in a way where hierarchies can keep changing to serve the purpose of different needs. So I think the way I would sum it up is today, if an organization needs to keep the family view, it's simply customer centricity flipped over and it's employee centricity. You are the power of the people who inhabit you. The brand is the people who inhabit you. And that's the way I would look at family in an organization setup.
So tell me, that was wonderful. You flipped it so beautifully. So when you flip it, okay, just imagine, let's say your family or your parents' family and yourself. The parents, the way they took care of you, the way they helped you grow, the way they helped Diya become the so-called Diya, the head of HR in McDonald's. What are the elements that you see organizations can do similarly?
I think you fly as a child or as a kid or today as a parent or when I was a child. Belief goes a long way. You believe you can fly not just because of the skills you learn, because there's someone who's there to take your back and there's someone to manage your fall. And it's very similar in the organization. Wow. And if I go back to the time when you were talking about an associate, right? The first time you give them a nudge and say, smile karke to dekho. And they get that smile back and they turn back and look at you. Those are the same examples you would have experienced as a child or as a parent. So it's really no different, and I believe those are the leaning belief and trust, and believing a person can make a difference and add value. No person comes to work with the intent of doing a bad job. So I think that's the crux of
I
it.
totally agree with you, Diya. I'm going to come back, okay, saying that as a family of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, the parents, the mother, and especially our mothers were not working mothers, they were homemakers, okay, had the time to say, oh, smile and, thoda sa nudge and गिरे तो उठा लूंगी. Okay, अभी यहाँ पर आपके फैमिली में 5,000 लोग हैं, शायद रिलायंस के फैमिली में 1 लाख हैं. So does the mother as a CHRO and father as the CEO, does they have the time and ability to look after the large numbers, and how do you build a culture which is a family culture? But I'll come back to you. Let me go to Tanuja. Yes, Tanuja has seen some huge numbers, and they have done some fantastic work with the pandemics, where all their family members left away due to pandemic, and this is what Hari told me. And then they had to recruit 10,000, 11,000 people in a jiffy of 2 weeks and 3 weeks, and they got them. So they had literally a family turnaround. Tanuja, you tell me, how should you define family in the industry?
So Nagesh, quite an interesting and intriguing question, I would say. But see, what is a family? Family is a place that you have people where people are taking care of you. They are holding you when you're falling. They are telling you what is right, what is wrong. You share happy, sad moments together, correct? And in an organization, you spend most of your time, like you were mentioning in the conversation also. So I think, like you mentioned also, that we had a lot of our family members going. In fact, 75% of our family members went, and then we had to rehire and all that. But I think that's a place where you feel safe. You know someone is going to take care of you. You know when you are in the bad phase of your time, there are people who are going to handhold you and help you cross that river. So that's about the family. But I think I would also want to add, truly said, it's very easy compared to an organization for a mother to handhold or a father to handhold the family, correct? Because you have a limited set of people. But for an organization where you have thousands and lakhs of people, I think it is totally dependent on how the top 10, 15 people drive it. Because if you are behaving like the head of the family, where you're nurturing people, handholding them, not letting them fall, like Diya was saying, not everyone comes with the intent of doing a good job, correct? So we help them. And I think that culture cascades, because you know that you are being watched for it, everyone. So I think everyone starts following it, and that becomes the culture of the organization. And I've truly seen it in Bigbasket, where we are not able to say, every day we are not able to say, smile karke dikhao. But I think in some way we are making them smile, and that's why even after pandemic, within 15 days, we were able to bounce back, bring people, and start the ball rolling.
I would agree, Tanuja, to a lot that you said. We will talk about when I come back to say, how do you make those 10, 12 people behave like family elders and create the culture? But ladies and gentlemen who are watching this show today, I must tell you that whether it is Diya, whether it is Tanuja, whether it is Aniruddha, all their organizations are part of the winning team of TRRAIN Retail Awards. And amazing stories that we see. And when I see those stories, I always think whether we take our associates as a family or not, but their behavior is such that they are more than a family. Okay, and I just recollect one of the winners of the last week's award, Tanuja, a young guy from Chennai who in a knee-deep water kept the whole crate on his head and walked for kilometers to see that he delivers. I mean, why would anybody do that? You'll always say, "Pani baras raha hai, aa nahi sakta, madam, main kal aake deke jaunga." Yeah, but there is a whole purpose, and the organizational purpose gets transformed onto a member, and that is the family. It's not about me. It's about my customer and my organization as a family. So yes, but the question is, how do you create that culture where they are family? Because don't forget, when we talk of a family, I mean, in 99% of the families, children don't run away. In our families, 99% of the children run away. Retail is a very strange kind of a family. So we also have to find out what we do. But anyway, I'll come back to that. Aniruddha, what's your experience and definition of a family?
So I think we have always believed that Shoppers Stop has been a very large family, and since the time you have started, I think that culture has been carried forward. What has got added is we have got a lot of brand staff also, and those are also part of now a part of Shoppers Stop extended family. If we interact with any of our associates, I think they take this feeling of family very, very seriously. And with respect to each store, the head of the store considers himself or herself as the father of the store, and like you said, HR, the mother of the store. I think everybody is willing to go the extra mile to be for the customer, and also to serve each of the guests who comes to the store as Atithi, and then provides that kind of service to them. This feeling of family, I mean, there are several incidences. I mean, recently in the pandemic, we had one administration person who was not feeling well himself, but he was so concerned about the store that he went in the night, ensured that everything is okay, and he was kind of preparing to open the store when the restrictions when the restrictions lift, and that is the extra mile that people are willing to go. Now, for us, as
I must say, Aniruddha, that that's a fantastic example. But I am recollecting another story. The winner of this year's TRRAIN Retail Awards. I have seen many such associates do things, but I have not seen many such CEOs do things. And I think I should share this. The lady Priya from Titan who won the award, she was down with COVID, and she was hospitalized, and she was on a hospital bed, and a customer called her without realizing that she is down with COVID on the hospital bed. Without telling the customer, she attended to the customer over 3 to 4 hours on the phone, coordinated with the team, and ensured that whatever was required for the customer got delivered. I was amazed at what she did, and I keep thinking, will a CEO do the same thing? And therefore, my question to Aniruddha, you coach so many CEOs and leaders. Give us some insight of how can the CEO, apart from the business head of the family, making money, earning money for himself and his shareholders, become the family head of the family. What are the 1, 2, 3 things that you see in the heart and the mind that can bring the whole family environment to an organization?
So I believe, sir,
Aniruddha,
empathy is...
Aniruddha, I want this to go to Arun, and I'll come back to you. Yeah?
All right.
Sorry. Yeah, Arun, sorry.
All right. Thank you, Nagesh. I think it's all about the culture, right? So culture is about how things happen here. One of the things, I can talk about hospitality, where in the hotels I used to work earlier, what used to happen is once the morning meeting is done, the general manager of the hotel used to come down, walk through the entire hotel, right? And while going in, he would actually shake hands with every person who he met. He would wish them, shake hands with people who would go. And second thing was about when it came to training, the general manager used to take the lead. So he used to kind of do the training himself. So that forced his team, the CXO team, to also be a part of the learning. So how do you lead by example? And second is that, am I humble enough to go and meet? A lot of times, I guess, especially with a lot of big companies, it's ivory tower kind of formula where people are sitting in their offices inside the AC. But how many times have you really gone and interacted with your team members? What is it happening? What is the pain that these people are kind of facing? And I'm able to pick up those clues. And what can I do to make things easy for my team so that they can take care of the customers?
So, Arun, I think that's really missing. Very interesting. So humility, being humble, walk the talk, makes a difference. But tell me one thing, when you meet with such leaders, what characteristics do you see, or what do you think one should develop to translate this whole values into the next 10 people? Tanuja talked about the next 10 people. How do you actually translate? Is there 1 or 2 or 3 insights about a CEO that you can give us so that the CEOs or the CHROs here sitting here, they can actually say, if I can develop this, maybe I can be that family head?
So one of the things which I also talk about and talk about leadership and coaching and Nagesh is the Bahubali effect, right? So a lot of these managers, they come across as Bahubalis who say that I have the answer and I'm here to tell you what to do, right? Versus to say that in this, because what we're talking about the VUCA world, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Now the new term is the RUPT, which is rapid, unpredictable, paradoxical, and tangled. That's what COVID world is. So in this world, we are not sure as to what is going to happen next, right? What is, the strategy earlier was, 5 years, 3 years. Now, I'm not sure even if it's, 3 weeks, 4 weeks in advance, are we able to plan for something like that, right? So in this, kind of environment, CEOs, CHROs, can they become more facilitators, right? Can they make things easy? So that we don't have a solution, can we discover solutions together? Right? I think if that attitude really comes in, and especially it has to from the top. The top really, how can they, for example, I was in Oman a few years ago where I was doing a training. The head of the owner actually would come in, we used to have the certification every year, a period of 1 week. He would come every week, every day in the evening to hand over certificates. That was his way of saying that I'm there for you. So what are these visible examples that people can actually show? Right? And not be stuck in their AC offices, in their cabins, or talk to people over video or whatever. Are they really reaching out to people? Can they feel the pain that associates are going through? I think that can make a huge difference. It's not easy, and I'm ready for it, because that is critical for people to be successful in retail.
Wonderful. So I will want the 3 HR leads here, to actually, without taking names, they can take the names also of their bosses, to say, is there anything else that you have seen in the CEOs, okay, which actually makes the organization's leadership team develop a culture which can make the organization as a family? And also, if you can share your own experience with your CEO, where together you could actually make this happen. Or you could even share an example where you thought you could make this happen, but it didn't happen because of some challenge, okay? I leave any one of you can take it on, Diya, Tanuja, or Aniruddha.
Yeah, I'll be happy to take it.
Yeah.
So I think this would be an example which would not go back too many years, but we were looking at moving from being very operations excellence to more experience driven in the restaurants. And it's a huge shift for an organization and a brand like McDonald's, which has always been about speed and getting it out at a certain time. And we started with leadership, right, from the managing director, getting on into the restaurant, onto the floors, working the floors, connecting with the customers, managing the POS, and being humble enough to actually tell a person, can you show me how it's done? And then connecting and taking feedback, saying, okay, where do you get stuck? Where do we spend too much time? What takes away time from you spending more quality time with the consumers? And I think that would be a great example of us being able to propel that change. When you actually see leadership getting down and trying to understand what the obstacles are, working the space all together, and creating that change right from the top. And it becomes very, very easy because people understand what's it from them. And I think the connect that happens while you're working there, where you truly want to understand what people's obstacles are, that's the most important feeling you can leave with employees, of being heard. And that's of great value over there.
Yeah, and in fact, what you said is very right. It must be also a very big leveler. If you go across the floor and talk to a front-end associate or a cashier in McDonald's, say, hey, teach me how to cashier, I don't know. As a managing director, okay, the guy must be saying, oh, for one moment, I know better than this guy. He may be the CEO of the company. It happens to us, maybe not to you. You all are still young. Okay, I have to call my daughter in Pune or Chicago to say, you know what, this feature of the mobile is not working. What should I do? Yeah, and they must be thinking, oh, this managing director chairman doesn't know how to operate his mobile. But those are good levelers to actually take it on. Tanuja, you have seen a lot of development of these teams at the top. Share some examples.
So, Nagesh, let me give an example. What happens in a family, correct? A child knows whether this person genuinely loves me or he's faking it, because it's a good to do thing. I think the most important aspect in any engagement wellness program is your intent. How genuinely are you invested in it? Are you doing it because the world perceives it to be the right thing, or you genuinely feel in it? So if I talk about Bigbasket, I think one change that I see, one difference that I see in Bigbasket amongst many other organizations which also do it, is the genuineness at the founders level. And when I say genuineness, that because they actually believe in it. If there is a person ill at an associate level, at a delivery person's level, they will ensure if they get to know about it, that they are aware about it, they call, they follow up. If there is a reward and recognition program that we do for our associates, where we call the top pickers and delivery boys, and I see my CEO not being with the business head, but with the group of my associates, enjoying, partying, understanding what happened in their life. And this message has gone very strong in the second line of leadership, which is my business heads, the functional heads. And they know that this is the behavior that is acceptable in this company, and these are the behaviors not. So some of them may believe in it genuinely, but others have realized that this is one cultural element of this company that they need to imbibe. So that's how it has helped us percolate down. So I think that has been one key thing for us, Nagesh, if you ask me, that the overall belief of the leadership team.
I do interact with all your senior leadership in McDonald's and all other companies. But I must say one thing about Hari, every award, okay, he has personally attended. One award he couldn't attend because one of his colleagues' daughter was getting married in Chennai.
Yeah.
And he called me and he said, Nagesh, I'm not able to attend, but feel sad about it. Mm-hmm. So you are absolutely right. And there's another example which I found in Sagar Malviya of Wow Momo. Mm-hmm. There are lots of examples. The one example which actually made me think so is like an employee whose salaries are 120,000, okay, fell sick, and he had to be supported with 10 to 12 lakhs compensation for his hospitalization. And the organization took a decision to support him without knowing whether the person will be there, not there, will he leave the job or continue the job. So the job didn't come into the picture. It was just the intent of helping a human being who has been part of your brand survive and go through this. And it is amazing. So there are these elements of family, Tanuja. But the big question that I have, and that should be the next round, I should talk to some of you who can actually, how do you make that happen? For that, you require the CEO to come with that? Or for example, if I asked you, so if you found the CEO do it, and you felt that the team leaders actually could imbibe and say this is important for the organization, did you see the team leaders imbibe and translate it to the next level? Was there something special you did, or it just happened?
So I would say this is a journey. So when a company starts, you have a set of people, and then you scale, you keep hiring new leadership team. Now they have to gel with the value system of the initial team, correct? That's what happened in our case. We were a very small organization. We evolved, we hired multiple leaders. What happened is, what we did was, I think, hopefully we did it right, let me say. So there are certain things which are very key to us. Like this is one thing, that our associates are the most key employees for us. And Hari keeps saying it in multiple interviews, that how do we become the employer of choice for our associates? So I think that one vision, we've created a vision for us. We want to become an employer of choice for the associates. Now that is drilled down every meeting, every conversation. That message goes clearly. A region, a business head that does it better is rewarded, is appreciated, correct? So everyone knows, okay, this is something that goes well in this company. Simultaneously, we keep doing these connect sessions. Like we started hiring women across our warehouses. So we ensured that they have direct link with the founders. So we did multiple communication channels. We hired people with disabilities. In fact, Punk helped us a lot in that. They helped us, handholded us and all. And we again did those connect sessions. Again, for the top performers, we do these connect sessions for people who are going through a difficult phase in their life. Like you spoke about one employee in Wow Momos. We have many such examples, Nagesh, where people have gone through kidney transplants, trouble, not being able to work. Our founders are continuously in touch with them. Leave aside work and all, no thought about when they will come back. But are they fine? Now this, everyone in the company is seeing it, correct? So slowly, gradually, this message is percolating down, and it is these questions are being asked in multiple meetings. These things are being reviewed. So any strategic initiative that you take in an organization like this has to be reviewed, unless the management believes in it. If it is reviewed in every meeting, like this is an important thing that is reviewed in every business meeting. What are we doing with people with disabilities? What are we doing people with these issues? So I think everyone understands that this has to be done, and I think you also end up hiring people with similar value system and cultural elements, correct? So I think we've been fortunate to have a similar set of people across the regions, the top leadership team at least,
I think
where we have been able to inculcate this.
Tanuja, is a very important learning for all the viewers who are here, okay, as to how do you make their existence real in the corporate office boardrooms, because this is very important. I was attending an award ceremony, and where when it came to the SO award and HO awards, okay, they were called by name. Oh, here is Tanuja, here is Arun, here is okay, and surprisingly, when it came to some of the store employees, they just took some odd numbers, some employee number, and said employee number so and so, so and so, so and so. This I think is extremely important. How do you bring this part of building an organization as a family, and some of the front-end associates as family members become part of our monthly reviews and weekly reviews, and automatically things will happen? Yeah, good. So since we are talking of family and well-being, Aniruddha, I'm coming to you. Slightly moving ahead, okay, what will be the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 components of well-being that you think that one should look at it? Diya gave me some wonderful examples, and I'm going to quote her when I was talking to her along with Amisha. We always ask our employees to say, why didn't you come on time? And she said that there was some employee who said, ma'am, today there was a long queue in the public toilet. This doesn't strike. This just doesn't strike us, because we have not seen this happening in our lives, okay, that what do they go through? So what is well-being? Do we provide a livelihood, a place to stay for them? What do we do? So just between the 3-4 of you, let's see if we can come out with 5, 6, 8, 10 elements of what we could call as well-being for the employees. Anything that comes in your mind?
Well-being, I think what comes to my mind, it's more holistic. You have well-being at the career level, you have well-being at the financial level, we have well-being at the emotional level, we have well-being at the community or the friend circle level. So when a person comes to work, he brings all his emotions and all that he has gone through at the workplace. Like you said, he spends 10-12 hours at the workplace. So the workplace is now his family. If we have to address well-being, I think all these aspects need to be addressed. I think, and the challenge during the pandemic for us was, how do we reach to the employees when none of them were in the stores? So there were some initiatives that we took, and we tried to move it digital and online. So there was a initiative called SS Shopper Stop Connects, and there we created all these platforms for financial well-being, for emotional well-being. We got outside trainers, we gave them snippets. We had a special program for women financial awareness. So that is the time when we received a lot of feedback saying that this is something that we require. And men in general, they will file their ITR returns, or they will take care of the finances well, but women, they are not expected to, or finance is something that they are kept away with. But this platform helped us, and we are able to reach out. So well-being for me.
So you are saying that these are the 4 or 5 broader areas.
4 or 5 pillars are there for well-being.
Anything which you think the organization or the industry is not doing, which we can actually pick it up in a forum like this, either at a particular company level, at an industry level, on the well-being? Because see, as an industry, all said and done, there is something not right with us. Okay, there is something seriously wrong with us. Okay, whether we accept it or we don't accept it. I met HR head of a very large, the modern day delivery kind of a business, and where I got the news to say that our attrition is 170%. We turn around a company in 70% of the year, which means in 8 to 9 months we turn around the company. You don't have people living like this, the family. So there must be something that we are not doing right. Yeah, so just think through, and maybe we want to conclude with 4 or 5 things that we can identify as, probably if we do this, it will make a difference. Diya, I think you had a lot of thoughts on this, which may be in the organization and outside. What is not right, and what can we do right?
Sure, sure. So I think I'll pick up from where Aniruddha left, and just to just kind of sum up on that point. So I think when you look at physical, mental, and social, the very important aspect of the mental and social pieces is that they are tied in very, very heavily. So while as an employee or as a person, you want to belong, whether it's to your community or the place of work, at the same time, the self-esteem piece, right, which is part of actually your mental or psychological makeup, is huge. Am I confident of who I am and where I come from? And I think that's a very important space which we as a sector, if we can impact. When you come from, especially when we are hiring frontline, a lot of us manage to grow a certain, percentage of those employees through the hierarchies and things like that. But I think what you're highlighting is the churn of the people who seek something beyond. And, they move on and they look for, other things. How can we actually impact that? Can we create a community or a space that entitles them to a better standard of living? Whether it's for people who are migrants, whether it's people from, different walks of life who are partnering with us, whether it's students who are completing their education while they're working with us. Can we help them take care of their needs, be it through working hospitals or basic amenities? I think that's largely the direction in which I was largely thinking, because that's a common battle for all of us. You might open on a highway, you might open in a small town, but these are the issues very often that are actually impacting at the grassroots.
Big ask, Diya, but I must share with the audience again one of the quotes when I was talking to Diya earlier, where I don't know whether Diya, you said or somebody from the industry told me that because out of 100 only X number of people can grow as managers. I think you all have also provided lateral movement with another hotel group or other hospitality group, where you are saying, hey,
yes, we are in talks with Aradhana at Lemon Trees to say that I can only grow. And this was again through Punk. We've been working with speech and hearing impaired. And I know I can grow them 2 levels. After that, could you take them to the next level? Because you have roles that would allow them to grow beyond, then let them stagnate here.
That is family. Because there the concern is for the employee or that human being, and not that if the person goes, then McDonald's will lose an employee. To say, can I grow the person? And of course, as a PWD is special also. But I think to me, that's the thinking. How can we go above our organization and actually go into the next level and see that? Anything that you have, Tanuja, before I go to Arun, I have a separate question for him.
Yeah. So taking forward from what Diya mentioned, well-being, I'm talking about the industry attrition here actually, because even if they switch from one to another, I'm still okay.
Yeah.
A lot of our exit happens where I think people are not looking for stable jobs or source of income, because they come and they go back to their villages. They don't care about working. So well-being for me also is important, because we see a lot of such churn where when we speak to them, why did you leave? They say there are summers. In North India, there are summers, so we went back. So for me, well-being is how do we educate them? How do we tell them about the career progression, what the company can do for them, what regular employment can provide, and how do we stop them from quitting? Because only if they continue to work for a sustainable time will they be able to grow, and overall their socio-economic conditions will improve as a family. So well-being for them is they continue to work, and also a lot of skill development for their family members. We do it at Bigbasket. How do we educate their siblings? I'm not even talking about kids, because we hire very young people. So kids will happen later, but how do we educate their spouse? Any skill development program for that, so that can be another source of income for the siblings. What do we do for the parental medical? What do we do for the kids who are in nursery or studying for their education, so that the next generation at least is more equipped and a better socioeconomic status? I think that's what we are looking for.
Wonderful. I don't know, Lawrence, I know you're recording this program, but in the last 20-25 minutes, we seem to have got some very, very nice ideas. Okay. And if somebody has to do it, it has to be the leadership and the industry body, RAI, which can take some of these. And of course, some of this as a philanthropic initiative of TRRAIN, we will definitely take it up. My team is also there on the show. Arun, there is an interesting question. I thought I should ask you to answer this. It says, how do HR ensure their own well-being?
Okay.
So somebody is grudging me to say, you are only talking about employees and the front-end people. Okay, please look after us also. How it says, how do HR ensure their own well-being along with the employees? So, I mean, he or she has been fair.
Absolutely. I'll just add a couple of things in what came in early questions, Nagesh, because if you look at the Maslow's hierarchy, right, so you're talking about the basics. The question in retail is the basics are still not covered, right? So my question here is, at least in retail, what can we really do? Especially if you have big stores, right? Can the big stores at least provide a shower or something, right? Because what happens is that, look at, as you said earlier, right, where people don't really have a place to take shower, they're standing there. So at least the big stores or the malls, can you make it mandatory, saying that there'll be at least some showers? Yeah. People come in, they freshen up. So like in a hotel, right, you have a locker room, you have showers. So at least you become presentable. And probably when I'm finished my shift, I won't probably take a shower and go back home. Is that feasible? It's simple things, right? So if you address these simple things, I think the rest of things can definitely be kind of taken care of. It's not about something really big.
You have to start with some basics, at least show that your intent is, and like Tanuja said, that you want them to be happy, you want them to feel good, okay, and feel better about things.
Absolutely. And about HR, again, I mean, we were talking about the retail awards, we were part of that jury there. So the question that we asked is, what is it that I'm actually contributing and how am I upskilling myself? Right. So if you're looking at this as well, right? So if you're looking at well-being of HR, what is it that we can really do is, before we kind of go back and look at policies for people around, in terms of HR itself, so I mean, the biggest thing that I see again now with a lot of gadgets and all that around, right? So the multiple components of well-being. One of the biggest thing is sleep, right? Are we letting people have enough sleep?
Oh, wow. This is
7-8 hours.
This is you're talking of HR to the people, or you're talking of the HR yourself not getting sleep?
HR, I mean, if you look at this, one is, yes, people are not, I mean, this, though addicted to gadgets and all things that are happening around, they're not really, I mean, one of the big things, and if you're looking at, there is spiritual, there's a physical, there is an emotional, there's a relational, and there's a mental. There are multiple components of it. But the big thing here is the people are not getting enough sleep, right? If I don't get enough sleep, how will I be ready to serve my customer tomorrow? Similarly, even with an HR itself. So can I, again, one of the examples I can talk about is, this is something which I heard in one of the seminars, where one of the components was that people were staying back late in the office, right? What I believe the organization did is that, again, similar thing where switch off the light by 7 o'clock and stuff, so people go back, switch off the AC by 8 so that people move. They realize that even in spite of that, people are staying back. So what I heard from the CEO when he was sharing the story is that they, I believe, drafted a letter which was sent to the spouses of the employees saying that our office timings is 9 to 6. We switch off the AC, light by 7 and the AC by 7, light by 8. In spite of that, if they come late, it's your issue.
No, not your issue. This is causing trouble. Yeah? You're telling the spouses, please check up. What the hell is this person doing after 7? Yeah.
So this is just in jest, but generally I felt that this is something which, what can we really do? Because especially if you're looking at retail, right? So people are working long hours, right? If somebody doesn't come in, you're actually working double shift. What is it that can be really done? Ensure that as HR, one is looking at themselves and also ensuring that these are kind of really, it's not seen as a tick in the box. A lot of initiatives that HR normally does is a tick in the box saying, okay, we've done this today, we've done this tomorrow, and it's there in the report. But is it actually being looked at by people around them? And probably, in your app that you said, probably can we have a mental health line, right? So I had challenge, whatever. Can I reach out to somebody who's neutral?
Yes. So just since you asked that, Arun, that in the app there is a counseling. You can just press a button and you connect to the counselor in a few seconds. But I must share this with the HR folks who are here. I mean, if you want your well-being, I would say that please exchange seats with your colleague in the operations, exchange seats with your other colleagues in other functions. Once they get to know as to what your role is, okay, I think they will appreciate and they will be more and more considerate towards your well-being. Because otherwise, one always feels HR has a cushy job sitting at the back, okay, and HR always meets the expense budget because the attrition is always more and you are not able to recruit enough. So they're the only ones who support the P&L. Yeah, but that's on a lighter note I was telling. Aniruddha, there are some questions and maybe I'll ask you
Yeah.
some of the questions. One of the questions says that in a financially challenged industry, okay, if we have to make a choice between investment into well-being, training, buying technology, where should we actually put our monies? Any particular thought?
So I think investment should be on people, because once you get the right people sitting in the bus, you can decide the destination. And in an organization which is an ongoing organization, destinations, targets can change, obstacles can come. But if you have the right you have invested in the right people, these people will take care of your family or organization, and you can overcome this. The training, I believe that investment should be there in people.
Anyhow, I think the question will go on to say, how do I convince my CEO to put money into people rather than putting money into technology and marketing and operations? I think we have question for one question we can take, maybe other 2-3 minutes. This question has come for work from home. What are various learning techniques that can be employed to help employees handle mental pressure of work from home and new normal? So I believe that there is mental pressure of work from home. Yesterday, somebody was telling me this is the best thing that can happen. If I don't want to attend, I switch off my camera and I log on. In fact, a much better anecdote. My sister-in-law, she's a professor in the school, in a college. So the classes were going on and one girl came loitering. And she's saying, hey, you're supposed to be attending the college. She says, yes, ma'am, my mobile is on, it is in my pocket, I'm logged in. Okay, and she's been walking around the place and doing whatever. That's one part of it. Other part of work from home, in a serious note, was where women felt that they're more challenged working from home, because the kind of infrastructure that the organizations provided at work, whether it was the creche and the support system, actually supported them to work from office. And also the kind of responsibility that falls into the lady at the house. If the man and the lady both are working from home, a lot of home part of the work still goes on to her. So there is that kind of a difference. And of course, people are talking about whether work from home should happen or not happen. So, I mean, not directed to anybody, but if anyone wants to take a jab on this to say, how do you manage the mental pressure of working from home? Tanuja, Diya.
So Nagesh, yeah. Anyone, Aniruddha, you were saying something?
I was just recollecting an interesting article which I had read. It was about Charter of Rights for Employees during work from home. So it said right to disconnect from your mobile, the right to not reply to emails on weekends, right not to reply to phone calls after 7 p.m. So I mean, these are some of the things probably that we can also extend to our employees. These could be the Charter of Rights of people working from home. And of course, everybody was stretched and is continuing to be stretched because there is a manpower crunch and everybody is working extra time.
You're going to create trouble for me, Aniruddha.
But
I'm a very, very early raiser and all my mails I attend between 5 and 7 in the morning. Okay, so I have to now use technology and say, I will do it, but you send it only after 9:30. Sorry, Tanuja, you were saying something.
Yeah, so that's why it's an article, disclaimer, which I read. Anyways, I mean, open to other views.
Yeah. So I think quite an important question, specifically at this time. The pandemic hit us hard, and we all adapted to the new normal of working from home. And for retail, it was very, very difficult because the services industry had learned this much before. But for us, in person was the life, correct? And the moment the pandemic hit, it hit us very hard. We had to cope up with working from home. Managers had to cope with managing teams from home. However, for women, like you said, Nagesh, it was very, very difficult. And we've seen that data shows that the women participation in labor for workforce has dropped because there is a huge chunk of household work which is majorly handled by women. And then you have your work priorities also. So how do you manage that? So as an organization, I think what we can do is, and what we should do is, like, we bring office home, correct? We work during our rest hours. I think we should give that flexibility to people that they are able to meet their personal commitments as and when. Definitely outcomes can't be compromised. We are all corporates and looking towards one business outcome. But if we provide that flexibility, people are able to juggle between their office and personal priorities and meet both of them. And having said that, I think it is performers will continue to perform whatever the situation is, and then there will be people you will have to keep running around, whether it is a remote setting or it is an in-person setting. So we need to learn that art. One thing, just to add, I know we are running short of time. I think in terms of mental health, I think it has hit us hard because people have never been used to staying in closed houses, not talking to each other. So a lot of initiatives, at least the organization should take, where we can connect people to the right expert, which you were also saying. So maybe associate yourself with such as an organization where your employees can reach out to the right people and talk to them.
Yeah, thank you very much. We just have a minute to go. Diya and Arun, any last comments?
I think what I'd like to say is, I think at times we underestimate the power of connect. And I was just reading one of the Forbes study actually said at any level when a person feels heard. Okay, and for the person who asked the question on how does HR also take care, I think this is for any person who feels heard at any level. It could actually take up the person's ability to feel empowered to contribute by 4.6 times. So I feel empowered to give my best by 4.6 times because I believe you want to actually hear what I have to say or what I experience at the workplace. So I think connect at any level, be it a pandemic or, otherwise, has been always a very, very important part of the physical, the psychological, and the emotional well-being of an individual. And of course, even the social element of them wanting to belong.
Thank you, Diya. This is going to be very helpful to me because my family's biggest grudge against me is that I'm a poor listener. Okay, I become very impatient. So you're saying if I listen, I'll have a 4.6 time multiplier effect. Huh? This is wonderful.
If they feel heard, they have to feel heard.
No, correct. No, so first I will have to listen and then I have to ensure that they feel heard. But that's a good learning for me. Arun, last 20 seconds, anything that you want to say?
Probably one more idea which we can experiment. Now that the stores were not so busy, can some of the retail companies look at a 5-day week or probably a 5.5 or something? Some were experimenting. Why can't that become a norm now? But that is again another well-being, right? So is it something that we can do there?
Starbucks does it. So I hope that the whole industry takes on. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you, Arun. Thank you, Aniruddha. Thank you, Tanuja. And thank you, Diya, for wonderful. This is a topic is so close to my heart. I can go on for the next few hours and talk about it. And ladies and gentlemen who were there listening to this show, I hope you enjoyed whatever questions you sent. We have answered that. And request to Lawrence and RAI team, if you can actually put together a small 1-pager, 2-pager of some of the learnings, it could be fantastic. Thank you very much. And namaskar to everybody. Thank you.